we've spent so much time covering Illinois basketball about in-state recruiting, whether it's football or basketball, especially. Illinois is going to have two in-state natives on the roster next year: Terrence Shannon, who's a transfer, and Brandon Lieb, right? And long term, I don't know who's going to be there, but it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that stuff. As long as you are recruiting the really good ones. They got Morez Johnson coming in, right? Ty Rogers, I know, played in Chicago's last year, but he's a Michigan guy, which makes it so impressive. You beat Tom Izzo for him. But that's what's made this staff so good, Derek, is they have reach everywhere, and they are reaching further into the international, right? And that's been very good for them. Whether, Andres Feliz, Kofi Coburn are from there. I know they were in the States when they were recruiting them, but, Benjamin Bosman's Verdonk, like they have gone overseas and gotten some talent here outside of the U.S., right? Alfonso Plummer, a guy from Puerto Rico. Now they're getting more into Europe. They get Zachary Perrine. And it feels like, and it looks like they are starting to up their recruiting more. So tell me why they're doing that and what that could mean for the program.
In terms of why, there's just a lot of really good players that are international and overseas. And there are two different categories of guys that come over from, international routes and play high school basketball, like a Kofi Coburn from Jamaica, or, we've seen Andres Feliz come over and was playing high school basketball in Florida and ultimately played JUCO. And then there's the guys that don't come over, and that's a little bit more as far as mining for talent. Not to say that they're all, top secret type of guys. Like, you got to really figure that out, because there's FIBA, and there are ways to find out who are really good players over there.
Yeah, like Victor Wembanyama is not some secret, right?
Yeah, he is not. No. So like Benjamin Bosman's Verdonk was one that I personally didn't know much about him. I don't know who else was really. There weren't a ton of other options for him. Zachary Perrine was, UCLA knew about him, was pushing for him, and Texas came in late on him and was pushing for him. So that was a big win. I know that those around the program feel that not only is that an exciting victory in recruiting for the program because of what Perrine can be upside wise with his skill set and his length and what he can develop into, but that kind of paved a pathway of establishing new connections and some influential people that they've gotten to know and have built relationships with that can pay dividends down the road with some other guys internationally. So Jeff Alexander has really taken up that mantle of, he's just someone that came in 2017 from Evansville and had recruited internationally in the past, but now is really diving in deeper to further those inroads that he has. He was out there at the FIBA World Cup in Spain earlier in July. He's currently in Istanbul at the European Championships under 18. Going to see Zachary Perrine. Going to see a guy we'll talk about, Nicolo Moretti, who's an Italian point guard that they saw at the NBA Academy. So the bottom line is, and I know that we've talked about this a little bit in the past, is Gonzaga has done a phenomenal job of bringing in international talent. Arizona's done it, especially within the last 5 years or so, and we'll continue to do that with Tommy Lloyd. Michigan with the Wagners, even going to Canada, which I know we don't maybe consider as much of a reach anymore, because those guys are more integrated into the EYBL and those type of things. But with Stauskas and everything, it's been very good to some other programs, and I think that Illinois recognizes that it can be great for them, and they've got some good feedback, not only where the program's going, how Underwood and his staff are viewed as coaches. And I mean, the university is super diverse. It's a high academic institution. There's just a lot of boxes that they check, and they definitely want to be more prominent in that market.
And the other thing is, Derek, the basketball is good over there, right? Like, this is no longer like, hey, you're taking huge risks on a lot of these guys, because there's good basketball coaches, there's good basketball players. We just said the top 3 MVP candidates were all international players, right? And I think it's, growing percentage of guys are in the NBA and in college basketball are over there. So I think you probably wouldn't be a big time program if you're not looking over there and investing some resources. So I think it's really cool that Illinois and smart that they are sending Jeff Alexander over there to scout a lot of these tournaments. I think one of the things, like ESPN, Mike Schmitz, what made him so good, he went over there all the time and made connections with people and found some of that talent. And now he's in an NBA front office. And, Tommy Lloyd has made a career out of going overseas and building Gonzaga up with Mark Few, of finding those international guys. And now he's doing it at Arizona. So I think it's really, really smart for them to do that. And, Jeff, I think could be pretty good at that. And, I know people are sitting there going like, well, what's he doing? Well, Zachary Perrine was a pretty big win for Illinois. If they get a couple of those every couple of years, that'd be big for Illinois. So, Derek, any other recruiting things that we should be paying attention to before we let you go?
Yeah, I might as well tell you a little bit more about Nicolo Moretti is the point guard from Italy, who is really gifted off the dribble, great passer. I know that the Atlanta stat, they offered him after seeing him at the NBA Academy in Atlanta, and they see some similarities between him and Andre Curbelo with those type of skills, but he's someone that shoots the three a lot better, is more progressive with his jump shot. He was hitting some really deep threes. And as a lefty who's got the stroke and has some skill off the bounce, it's easy to say, oh, Goran Dragic, which I'll be honest, like that's kind of what you see when you look at his highlights.
Underwood loves the lefties, doesn't he? Like there's a lot of lefties on this team.
Yeah. Someone's got to replace Trent and Plummer. And
yeah.
So I think that that's something. And as they evaluate their, you get a chance in the summer, and we'll find out more as we get into the fall and playing games as far as your current roster. But this guy Clark is a point guard. He is a little bit wired score first, but he is a very talented handler and can get to places and facilitate. That's still something that needs to grow. But Jaden Epps is definitely a bucket getter. But I think that, is he a point guard? Is he a guy that's going to make others around him better? I'm not saying that he won't develop into that. I'm not saying that I've seen some of that out of him in AAU and high school, but I know that as they've evaluated him this summer, they want to see him push forward with that. So another playmaking point guard in the mix is something that's become kind of a priority, or something that they certainly have recognized as something that they need. So someone like Nicolo Moretti, who's the brother of David Moretti. I think they call him David. It's David with an E at the end. So I'm going to say David Moretti at Texas Tech, 2019 runner-up, was a starter for them and did some really good things. So that's one they're looking at. Alex Tui is from Australia, 6'7" forward, was the top scorer at the NBA academies. Another one that they've gotten involved with. I know that after he performed at NBA Academy, Duke, Michigan, Gonzaga all showed interest. So just kind of tapping into those connections and opening up the reach of the program to international is something that they're very interested in continuing to do.